People, Deluded, I'm back again. A quick one. A couple of you have been asking for my opinions on AUBAMEYANG, or better yet, is he an Arsenal legend? Football is subjective. The word legend is subjective. To be a legend in Arsenal, things for me, I believe you've got to win trophies and stuff like that within the context. And he's done that. He's played, how can you, there is a genuine debate to be said. You look at the rapid rate he's scoring goals. If he keeps himself fit and stays for 3 years, maybe a fourth, he has a good chance of, putting himself up. Not maybe, I don't think he'll get the record goal scorer, but of course not. But he has a good chance of putting himself in fairly decent Arsenal folklore in terms of Arsenal strikers and goal scoring. Undoubtedly, in the Emirates era, we haven't had too many superb signings. I think Alexis Sanchez was one. I think AUBAMEYANG was one as well. He's been every bit penny that we've paid for, and especially in a period at the Emirates where, if you don't want to say mismanaged, we've spent money and the signings haven't always banged, or they're not instantly impacted, or there's been something to say. Like, I think Pepe will come good, and I think he's not as bad as people are making out. But for the money spent, is he banging right now? I think Mesut Ozil's been a terrific signing for this club, and people that understand football see what he's on. But would people say the same thing? I like Xhaka, but Xhaka was 40 million. Jose Perez was like 20. We've mismanaged. When you look at all the signings made at the Emirates era, all the signings made during the Emirates era, we've made some decent signings, but there's not too many that have been worth every penny. Like AUBAMEYANG, every penny. Alexis, every penny. Santi Cazorla, every penny. To get where I'm going, people. And he is one of them. He's our captain. He's done a lot, man. And I mean, the facts, like this season, 44 appearances, 29 goals, 70 goals in total for Arsenal. 54 goals in 85 Premier League matches. Now an FA Cup winner, scoring 2 goals in the final as well as the semis. You probably can't deny him legendary status. I don't think he's an Arsenal legend yet. I think he's a fan favourite thing. I think he's on the Santi Cazorla sort of level. You're a fan favourite. We held you up and stuff. But if you say he's a legend, that's you. I think he's doing his bit. I just don't think AUBAMEYANG is an Arsenal legend yet. I think he's a fan favourite. If he continues going up the top goal scoring stats and keeps pulling through, he can. But I think he's a fan favourite. Either way, he's going to be held in high regards when he calls it a day at Arsenal. So hopefully that quashes that one very quickly, people. Moving away from that though, people, and I think we've got to address the elephant in the room, which is Mesut Ozil. We don't need to go over the same things. We know he has passed it. We know the club are trying to move him on. We know he probably doesn't fit in. I don't necessarily agree with the whole he doesn't run stuff, because he covers quite a lot of distance, people, per game. If you look at it, we all know he kind of plays and trains within himself, and when you've got someone like that, while he can be misunderstood, it breeds complacency and it's met with friction. I don't know what's happened or what's changed. I don't know if it's Arteta or the club, because Arteta clearly had a thing where he would play him but he'd take him off or something, because he was starting when Arteta gave him his chance, and since the restart he's not been involved. He's had a kid. I don't know if that plays a part. I don't know if anything's changed, but he's not involved in the FA Cup final, which must be a bitter pill to swallow, people. But away from Ozil, yeah, we have to adjust our expectations for one, and we need to speak about the elephant in the room, which is the lack of creativity. I don't see sometimes justification for not bringing Ozil. Not that Ozil isn't the Messiah. I've said this about Arteta to a degree and Emery. And arguably for the last 2 years or so, what have we been doing to bring this creativity in to justify Ozil out? Forget Ozil. I'm not saying Ozil needs to be in the team because we're losing this. I'm saying, listen, you can use Ozil, but at the same time, if you're not going to, man, need to be seeing creativity. Because it don't mean if Ozil plays we're going to bang and stuff, but I need to see creativity, because there's too much burden on one single player at this team. And even if we sign a next creative midfielder, I think Arteta will pattern stuff, but even if we sign a next creative midfielder, a lot of the same things we're saying with Ozil to a degree might be said with them, regardless of if they're, more dynamic and things like that. Purely because you look at, courtesy of the Athletic, I'm reading a report, and under Wenger, you know how our football is, we're averaging 200 individual passes, in the final third per 90 minutes under Wenger. And that just drops to just under 100 under Emery. And, considering we've got arguably less players, this tells you that there's a lack of creativity, and there's too much creative burden on single players in this team, people. Like, you can see obviously there's many reasons as to the following stats I'm about to present. He's played less, he is playing poorly, he is declining, the team has been poor. But you just look at Ozil's touch per games in the final third, and they've dropped significantly in the last couple of years. One of his best years, 15-16, it was 45. Last season it fell to 28, And obviously, if you look at Ozil on Opta and things like that, he likes to play with other creative players. And I think when you remove that, what I've just said, remove Ozil's name, I think everybody needs to be able to breed creativity. You know, Martinez has shown he's not Edison level, but he's got that sneaky little pass in him. Leno the same. We need our central midfielders specifically to add more goals and assists. You know, to a degree, there's not much they can do because Xhaka's got other qualities. Goal scoring isn't one. When he does, it's a banger, but it's not one of his qualities. Simple as. Torreira, you need someone that can put a foot in, whether he stays or goes. He's not a goal scorer. Ceballos, you know, Xhaka and Ceballos are Arteta's gonna have to find a way. But Ceballos is probably the one I'm looking for to get the assists and break the lines and things like that. Is he gonna get that, and can he play by himself? Because our creative players are forever dropping deep and things like that. We need our players. It's not rocket science. So more creative players need to offer more. We need to breed more creativity as a team. We need to have more touches in the final third. We need more creative players, and this is the elephant in the room beyond Ozil. Ozil leaves, to a degree, we're going to keep saying the same things about the lack of creativity and the burden. You know, for the last 2-3 years, we've not been addressing this, people. We've gone from having an abundance of creative players to this, you know. And in relation to Ozil, you know, there's 3 possible scenarios, really and truly, like the Athletic summed up perfectly. And I've said before, you know, you either loan him out, which could be the best one. You either loan him out and offer a club, you know, you supplement some of his wages and give us a loan fee for this final year. We'll do our thing, because, you know, it's about getting money back. We might have, let's try and get into a position where we're paying 150k a week rather than 300 and whatever. With COVID, are people prepared to take that risk on Mesut Ozil for a player they, you know, they outlay for their player, they might not know what they're getting, and they might have other things they want to do in their squad? I'm not too sure. But loaning and paying some of them wages is one of them. Obviously, getting him off the wage books completely being sold is one. A lot of people will say pay him up, pay up his contract and things. And logically, if you're not playing him, you know, he's got. For me, it makes sense because the club want to force him out, but it don't make sense because we're cutting off our nose to spite our face. We've got, you know, his salary is 20 million. Are we a club that can afford to banish a 20 million investment for a year to the reserves, or not play them, or not involve them? Even if it's a little Europa League with the young players, utilise that, because we're paying anyways, you know. If we was to pay up his contract, not too sure how much we could pay up front because of the COVID issues and things like that. Maybe he's alienated because of the whole wage stuff. But what was I going to say? You're facing paying 20 million. Do we have can we bring in Partey for 40? Can we extend Ceballos' loan spell? Pay Coutinho's loan fee allegedly, and it's spoken of over 2 years now. Yeah, people still in theory. Try and get AUBAMEYANG to sign a new deal, potentially Lacazette and all these other things, with just foregoing 20 million to Mesut Ozil because that's his contract. I don't think that's realistic, and that is going to harm us. You saw us, we're begging to be in the Europa League final. A big reason as to why we needed to win that FA Cup was for it itself, but for them qualifications for those pennies. Does this scream like a club that is in a position to give 20 million just willy-nilly, regardless of how they front it? So there's obviously paying up his contract, there's obviously selling him out, there's obviously loaning him, or the unpopular one is just to use him. If he's going to be here for a year and tie up his deal, you know, use him in some. I'm not saying he must be week in, week out, but definitely an option on the bench, definitely using cup competitions. And then come January, you hope he agrees a fee with a free contract with an MLS side, and then we try and say, you know what, why don't you go out there and do it now, sort of thing. The elephant in the room needs to be addressed. But beyond Ozil, there's a lack of creativity, people, and that's the thing. We look at the thing with Arsenal, we look at too many one players to solve things. We're looking at what a lot of people are pinning all their hopes. Saliba's a quality player, but pinning all our hopes on Saliba to turn us around defensively. Pinned all our hopes on Alexis to score goals, on Ozil to assist. Now Aubameyang does his job, but they can't do it without them. We always do this thing where we think one single player can do it all, where we need to be a creative thing. Listen, use City as an example. We're never going to be Man City with them crazy depth, but in the sense of sharing the workload. When, you know, you've got Sterling, you've got Gab Jesus, you've got Aguero, you've got Mahrez, Bernardo, you get the point. In our own little way, we need something along them lines, and that the goal scoring and assisting burden and just our creative approach it's not just on one person. You look at United, 9 times out of 10, if Pogba's not playing, it's just Bruno, and they need to get out of that if they want to get back to being Man United. So we have to see, people, but we have to address the elephant in the room, man, which is obviously Mesut Ozil, which we'll have to see what happens, man. But hopefully a resolution comes, because we can't keep seeing this nonsense, people. In that regards, people, man, we'll have to see what happens. But thank you for watching. Regardless, please like, comment and subscribe. On that note, I'm out.